Hello engineers, and welcome to my Satisfactory factory. I have been thinking of that title for most of the afternoon since I had to go and do a few other things, and I thought it was particularly clever because I think it's not going to ever be the greatest factory, and this isn't even it. This is just my beginner factory that you're looking, but I thought I would describe to you what we have, where I came from, and where we're going to go. As you can see, this is just a hodgepodge of machines down here. This is the beginner area. Off to the right of where I'm looking is where I spawned, really close. And I think a lot of people spawn in that same valley. I think there's a few different spawn locations, but most of you might be familiar with this area. So there's three. Down right in this area, there's 3 iron mines. I only hooked up 2 of them to 4 smelters, and then I've got them into a couple converters that are making some plates and rods. And then there's two different limestone deposits right here. So I have them making us concrete. And up there, I have copper coming down, breaking into wires and then eventually some cables. Additionally, I have just breaking down into some reinforced plates and some frames, though we're not really making enough or many. We just don't have enough screws coming out of there. And then what's the other thing? Rotors. So really just enough. I'm keeping it running. I'm now hooked up to coal. I'll show you that in a minute. But I have spent a lot of time. The first thing I did was build over here a concrete factory. It's hardly up to snuff, but there's one more limestone deposit in the area, and I just got that hooked up to a Mark II belt and a Mark II miner. I just got the ability to make those at that time. And I built this platform. Now, you know you're getting a pretty big platform, by the way, when you stand more or less on one end of it and you look to the other end and the buildings are hazy. So this is like probably the main thoroughfare, runs north and south. I oriented the blocks north and south just because, I don't know, it seemed to make sense. And over here, what I'm going to do, I went and sat down and kind of wrote out a diagram of not where everything needed to be, but what was related, almost like a football, play chart where you have arrows going, okay, I got iron ingots here and they're going into right here, iron plates, and then I'll have an iron rods factory down here. Here, let's jump in the truck. Hopefully it's not too loud. Loudness in this thing might be an issue, but I'll try to speak up. Come on, get in. But I noticed the field of view is a little bit higher, so I don't have this all filled in yet because I'm still kind of waiting on. This thing's awful loud, isn't it? Turn it down. At least a little bit. Okay. Let's take a look. So off to my right, I'm going to have. I'm going to have a whole string. I think up to 10 sets of these. Well, that's a set of 5. It should be a set of 4. Put an extra one in there for some reason, because I can't count. But so I'm going to have 10 sets of 4, because each 4 will handle 120, which at this point is a Mark II belt. So I'm going to have to find a few more iron mines. I think there's like 3 over there, and then I know there's about 3 more right in this general area, so that'll give me up to 6. And so we'll get those going eventually. And they're going to feed out into. Over there is a rods factory. Now that's going to have to be, you can see it's much longer, but this is a set of 8. One belt of 120 should be able to do 8 of those. And then there'll be another set of 8 over there, and then this building will be 2 stories tall, and that will give us like up to 16 of them, which should be more than I think I need. I'll drive off the edge doing this. I'll be impressed with myself. So that's going to be iron plates right there, and that will be 2 sets of 4 because they use 2 each so that'll use up 120, and that'll also be 2 stories tall. Let's turn, so we get away from the edge a little bit, up a little better. And as we come down, the iron rods and plates, the iron rods onto my right there, and I don't have it all worked out 100%, but that's going to be where I make screws. Now I'm going to do those in sets of 3 because they put out 90 a piece, and when they put out 90 a piece, that will end up being a Mark III belt coming out of there, and you can see that's pretty long. And if, again, any of these buildings, if they have to go 2 stories, they will. So I won't keep saying that. And then off to my left there, if you can see, let me hop out for this. I have this row of blocks where we'll bring in, let's see, this is for the reinforced plates. I'll bring in the screws, say up here. Doesn't really matter which one I bring in up there or which one I bring in. So this will give me a little place to bring in the screws, and then have them divide above a row of like iron plates. So this will get us our reinforced rods right here. And I've done that pretty much every place that we're going to have, you know, like a dual assembler there. So let's hop back in here. Now moving on down, so we have another assembler, which is going to be doing the modified plates, not the modified plates, the modified frames. The screw factory is going to be coming all the way up to here. And there you go. So that's most of what needs the heavy iron. The iron. And then I have kind of like a copper section over here. So I'll have, we don't need nearly as much, though we do need some. Straight ahead, I'm just going to have 2 machines making some copper cables. You don't actually use those in any of the things that I'm going to build. But then right straight ahead, so back in the corner there, you can see where we're going to have the copper smelters, and they may even be 2 stories tall, depending on, I think that's the plan. And then what goes into some copper wire, which we don't need a huge amount of, in order to make stators here. I don't have all the machines yet. And then we're going to have a rotor section, motors. We don't need too many motors. We'll have 2 of those machines running there. And then this is for, is this, yeah, that back there was stators. This is for the rotors. So we have motors with an M, and rotors right here. So they need screws too, so they're right near the screw factory. I think they need, what, iron rods too? So those things are right next to each other. Alright, let's take a little ride. We'll go over to the steel section. I don't know why the road appears so bumpy here. So come up this way. What are they called? Heavy industrial frames, whatever they are. Like, I think I want to make 1 of them, but I kind of just set aside an area for 2. I guess I was feeling ambitious. But it's even making 2 of those. They make 2 at a shot, so we'll say it sort of depends on how much we output. May not be able to sustain it, but once it's filled up, we might be able to. So we need encased beams. We're kind of doing a little bit from the end backwards. So this will be where the encased beams. There's my concrete factory. Let's hop out and take a quick look. This is how most of these will turn out, something similar to this. There we go. So this is hardly running at capacity. You can see a couple going in down the end there. We do have believe it or not, this is a Mark II belt with a normal thing. So you're getting 120 in here, and it's just basically running 2 or 3 machines. I mean, other ones do pop through there once in a while, but But it is putting out enough to keep me going. I mean, you don't need... We're not going to need that many beams, and this will actually be more than enough. But I did put a second floor on it because, again, I was feeling ambitious. So I'll just show you. So if we come through here... Oh, where did I put my steps? I might put another set of steps, and again, I don't know if we'll have another floor or not. I left a hole. The reason I left a hole is so that I could tell where I started downstairs, so I can make it look more even if we put doors and windows in. But at this point, I just covered it up, made it so it looked nice. There you go. Now that we're over here, I have a little ramp. Made it so I can get down to the ground. I really don't have many accesses, but I wasn't done, just kind of got done building. So I'm going to put something like this around on the bottom at places, just so that we can get these lines up here. I may go, depends on the height, I may drop down a little bit more at times or up a little bit. And so this will be just a platform to get in this case, the limestone up, but I'll need these in other places over by the iron. Sort of depends on where things are coming from. So there you go. And let's see, we have, just for now, and this is another thing I haven't quite figured out. I'm going to probably look at other people's videos, but I think I'm going to divert, and I definitely, when I designed all of this, I designed it to be able to make one of those heavy industrial frames plus like 10 per minute. So in other words, it should be able to kick out 10%, or I don't know, whatever percentage, depends on just 10 items per minute extra. So I'm going to probably fill up a crate or two, and I'll show you where I'll put those crates. I want to put them in a central location. Which way are we facing now? Okay, that's our encased beams. So when we come over here, this will be our beams factory. I forget whether I'm going to make that 1 or 2 tall, but I can always make them, you know, taller if I find I need stuff. And then straight ahead is going to be the foundries for making steel. So I think there's going to be 3 sets of 3 or 2, yeah, 4 sets of 3 eventually, and this you're seeing like just the first one of each set, so there'll be 2 more next to that one, 2 more next to this one. And over here is the pipes. So this is making the pipes that we need, and they're going to get transported over, probably even dip down below, I think, and then get transported over too. Maybe even like the stators or something like that. I think they're also needed in this heavy thing. And then yeah, that's basically it. Let's take a drive in here. Just a dead end now. Oops. I wanted to hit enter to exit for some reason. So this is my coal setup. I don't like it because it's at a different, it's not on the same set of blocks, if you know what I mean. It's on a different orientation. So I think what I'm going to do is, we're going to definitely need more than these 4. I think I'm going to go down from here with like a ramp somehow, and then just redo this whole thing, and make it probably a little bit further back that way, somewhere off of the cliffs over there, you know, above the height of those cliffs. By the way, I have 2 copper. Remember I mentioned our copper is right over here? So I have 2 copper over here. There's the copper that's way over there, but I have two coppers right there. So that's, I don't need to worry about that. And I think there's another iron when I ping somewhere over this way too. So, but I'll just have to go gather it up from wherever it is. And yeah, so there's the coal. So I'll move that, you know, over this way some. As you can see, I don't really need this space for anything else, but I don't want them right there. I'll move that. But I've also left enough room here kind of in the middle. So even if I, you know, picture these moved over a little bit further back, and then And I didn't fill all this in because it's going to be for the hub and the space elevator. So you picture them probably push the space elevator back this side, and then the hub over, whoa, don't run off the edge, over towards the middle here, and then I put a lookout just so I could admire my handiwork. Maybe we can go up there and look around for a second, but pretty much where this is where I'll have the hub, and then the containers maybe like right behind it, in between the two. I don't know, or maybe I haven't really thought it through 100%, but as we're talking, I'm making more cement. I literally have pretty much been, you know, hand to mouth on cement. So this episode is giving it a little bit of time to get built up. So I'm not sure if you get a much better view of what's going on, but again, there's our old area. That's where I just slapped down our space elevator, and somewhere right next to the space elevator is the hub down below there, which does still work. If you're high enough above it, you can actually cover the hub, I think. Either that or the guy is like right next to here, I forget. But anyway, yeah, there's our iron smelters. Again, right, it's a little hard to see, but in between, right next to there, kind of right where I'm pointing at, is the iron plates, iron rods, reinforced plates, screws. Here we have the modular frames. Over there we have the rotors, motors, stators, wire, cable, copper. And again, remember I pointed out we have copper right below there, which worked out nice. And then that's our concrete factory feeding into encased beams, which needs concrete and beams. There's beams over there. Heavy modular frames, which is going to need like 4 different things. And I can't build it yet because I haven't unlocked that tech. So that's where they had the space holders. And we have the foundries for the steel. And then we have steel pipes. And again, steel pipes I think are needed in those stators, if I got that right. And hey, look, you can even see I have the recipe for foundry. Oh no, yeah, it's the heavy pipe, or heavy things I can't make. So there's motors. So there we go. Shoot. It's the second time I've done that. So my plan is next, and I'm not going to show most of this. If I get some requests to show some of the building on camera, I will. But let's head back. I wish we could. I tried to paint, by the way, the floors, and you can't paint them. I'd like to make like a yellow. Or go to a factory, you see like a yellow floor stripe kind of thing. Different color codings. But yeah, I was actually running around, and I ended up building this thing up here just to be able to get around. I still have a lot of stuff down below, and I'm not going to turn off anything down below until it's absolutely not needed, because I deliberately built it back in that corner because there's a poison area here, and I didn't want to make the poison area part of it. And just by drawing it out on a piece of loose leaf paper, you could see a general L shape to what we would need. You know, like everything about, I mean, I could have probably done a little bit better with where the pipe thing is, but I wanted to leave that central location out by that lookout tower to be able to put that and that. So eventually I'll have some ramps down where we could even maybe drive this guy right off of here. You know, heck, he could have a ramp going straight into that hill, and we might have to drive off. You know, obviously there's that hill over there by the copper mine is a possibility. So yeah, so what I plan on doing now is at least getting off to, if we ping for iron. And I actually found it because I built so far that I kind of discovered it. Why didn't I get a ping? Really? There's some iron like right down. Might even, it's not right below us. There's some iron like right over there. I'm pretty sure it's iron. Maybe it's not. And that's the reason I didn't get a ping. But I'm going to probably bring, not disconnecting that, I'm going to probably put a Mark II miner down there and then work out a system for bringing all 3 eventually of those up and into this building, and then I'm going to expand the 2 floors, and then another. Here, you know what? Get rid of this miscount. 2 floors. There's going to end up being 10 sets of these, as I said. So probably 2. Just to start out, I don't want to go above a 2nd floor. And there's no reason I can't put like 10 sets of these. Why did I leave a gap there? It was early in the morning, I think, when I laid this out. So you get the idea though. So I'm going to have like 5 more sets down here and then build another floor eventually. First though, I just really want to get to the point where pumping out a fair number of the frames and plates, and then I'm going to jump over to, like, I don't know, probably the steel, because that's holding me up on doing like Mark III conveyors. And then after that, I'll jump over to doing the wires and cables and motors. Because I need motors if you look for my Mark III logistics. So, don't know whether I'll, kind of thinking I might want to try to do those with something actually produced in my factory. I don't think there's a huge hurry. You can always upgrade things pretty easily. So there you go. So why don't I take a little break in it and show you guys the results of when I end up hooking up my my iron and getting that all going, All right, I'll talk to you guys in a few hours, or minutes, or seconds, depending on your perspective. All right, I'm down here by my original area, by the copper mine, or the iron mines, and I decided in my head that I would get it to the point I was ready to switch over. And my head definitely bit off a lot in between this 1 second segment for you guys. But I am ready to delete these Mark I miners and make them into Mark II. And disconnect at least those cables here, or the conveyor belts here. Let's see, we'll probably want to put these at a bit of an angle so I can shoot them into those conveyor belts right there. So, alright, let's see here. Mark II. Hopefully, now that I'm recording, I have everything I need. Looks like it worked. This one a little more of an angle, maybe. And then I want, let's see, how much can we get out of one of these? 120, so that's good. So Mark II conveyor belts will work for this. I went, well, let me not get ahead of myself. No, we don't want to go there. Can I just go right there? Let's do a 4. A 4, conveyor pole. 4. My eyes are going crossed. I've been playing so long. I need to get some power to these guys. Alright, so that's... I think everything... I'm not going to tear all that stuff apart on camera, but I'll use up some of it over time. It's not really... At this point, it's not bothering me that much. I'll fall off the cliff here. We have a way up. Plus, it's not a bad view from right this little pinnacle here. This is one of the highest peaks in the area, so this is why I kind of see my little... This is where it all started as far as this platform goes. So there we go. So we have 3 normal nodes, or normal, iron nodes coming in here, feeding 3 belts. Look at that, belt's missing. Yeah, look at that. Can I get it from up here? I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's... Oh, the other thing I need to do is upgrade all those to... I'm not going to be able to get past there without... Let me go to the outside. So then I missed. So these are all regular conveyor belts, so at some point I definitely need to upgrade them all. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this guy on my hotbar. Regular. I have enough reinforced metal now. Good. So there you go. Plus, there wasn't a huge urgency to get those done because they were only Mark I miners. Yeah, so those are all. So what I also did was found a few more iron nodes right there. They're just poor, but there's 4 of them, so they combine to be like 2 combine into being like a regular 120. Now this one up here is attached to a pure node, but I only have the Mark II conveyor, so I can get those up to Mark III, and I'll be able to have 2 lines splitting off up here. So as you can see, as we get up here, I've done a lot of work. I don't know if this is the best place to see things from, but so I have my iron coming in here, and then this one, because it will be, this is the one that's attached to the pure nodes. This one, I'll make all these Mark III belts once I get the steel going. And let's see. Yeah, so here we are. We have one, and this is part of the plan. There's only one of these that's not hooked up to iron yet. And when I calculated, I only need 9. So I really kind of need to go from one end to the other and make sure I have the right belts in the right place, because I used a lot of Mark I belts just to get things going. And I'll go through and make sure everything's running more efficiently. But there we go. So there is making iron plates, and that whole section there, this big long building, that's making iron rods. And I could also, if you notice with all of these, if I want to increase things some, I can go up another floor. So let's see, I think we can get across here and then go down the steps maybe, though it's not bad to be up top. So now we're in the why is there nothing? That was, because I never hooked that one up. That's alright. Like I said, I'll go through. So anyway, iron plates come out of here. That's right. See, I don't really have any of that hooked up yet either. And that's going into my refined plates. Now, all of those screw conveyors could really use Mark III belts, but at least we've got stuff going in. You can see it's kind of backing up. Let's come over here. Let's put another. What I did, I don't know if I haven't really paid that much attention to what other people were doing 100%, but what I did on all of these conveyors that cross on the ground level is put the doors up higher so we can drive that truck. So see how they're all up one level? It's a little hard to tell, but they are. So here's iron rods coming out of here, and these two, this line and this line, are doing, this one's doing, what do you call it? This is the more screws, but what I have it doing is these come down here and go to making the modified plates. So here's the reinforced plates. I have that split so we could just save some reinforced plates. And then if we go down here, we have the modified plates. Okay, nothing's running at the top efficiency, and I didn't really want this running that much anyway, but you know, there's a number of machines. I have like 200. That's plenty for me. How many machines? Yeah, 4. So I have like 200 of them just sitting there. But what I also did was, when it came to this, if you look, I have this conveyor, and this is actually returning any iron rods. I really wish they had a priority on this splitter, like where I could say, now go in here first and then come back out. So this comes back out and goes back into the screw thing with anything that I didn't use. And then I did the same thing over here as our rotors. So this is all making screws, and you can see it's kind of backed up because it doesn't have the right belts. But I kind of did the same thing here. So here we're making rotors, and whatever. Again, I wish it would just send them in there. See, that's what but until they make that an option, I imagine they should get a configure screen on this where you can say no, prioritize over here. Anyway, so it's sending some rods back up to make screws out of them. So then sending the screws back down. Now there's other things that I don't have. It's over here. I don't have any screws coming into here yet. So there's definitely room for some optimization, but I wanted to get at least to the point, now I'm making, 4 machines are making rotors, so if I need rotors, at least I have some coming out. And I haven't done too much as far as gathering up the extra. In other words, I should be making more than I actually need if everything was running right. So I don't have a whole lot as far as getting, I have my temporary gather up reinforced plates, but if we come here, I filled in the rest of this spot. And this is what I was kind of thinking is I would put here a row of just everything, so when I wanted something it would come up. So I'll probably drop those things down the bottom however I can and then bring them up over here. So there'll be a big mess of spaghetti down below, and really wish they had labels. I guess I could color code the things. That might help a bit. Maybe things made out of iron. And I marked out 4 corners here. This should, inside of those 4 corners, should be enough room to put our, what do you call it? The space elevator. And then what I was thinking of is putting the hub right over here. So, or maybe even a little closer to where I have all that stuff stored. So, and then the other, so then the other thing would be I need to go around and put walls on everything once I think once I do the final, as I close up the walls on each building, I will, as I make things as efficient as is reasonable, I will close up the walls. One last thing I did, if you noticed, we got a lot more stacks over here of, haven't done any of the steel stuff yet, haven't done any of the copper. So there's plenty of work. I've probably been at it a good 10 or 12 hours, not straight, but there you go. So now I have room to expand. So if we click on our power here, you'll see we have up to 500. We're using 200 already. But I can easily make probably double the size. I could probably get up to 1,000 before I even ran into kind of where my copper area was. And if I need to, I could go further to the south there. There you go. So let's move the space elevator. And we'll move the hub as well. And then I'll call that an episode, and then, let me know what you guys think. I don't think I'm going to pump out another episode with quite such diligence as I did this one, so I'll have time to read any kind of comments, and I'm going to clean things up. Let me know if you want to see more things or have questions. I don't know if I explained everything real well. Kind of breezed through it in some ways. Alright, so we want to probably make another personal storage for now, just to, because we're gonna, well, you know what, we're gonna make 2. Just put them here for the moment. Not close enough. Yeah, store everything. Yeah, that'll mean I can come in here, take everything. Oops, wrong one. store all... Oh, you won't go in there. I wonder why that iron was in that other chest. Alright, there we go. So that should give us enough room. Yep, there we go. So it seems to have all fit. So now we should be able to run up there. This doesn't need power or anything, so... I should take that off before we end up deleting something. Let's go. I always like looking at the graphic for the space elevator. It's quite impressive. I think we'll come around this way and see if we can't face the control kind of near where the hub would be. Not that it really matters, but... There it is. Oh, come on. I kind of wish you could zoom out more, you know? So, we can also, that's not the way you do it, you can also place the hub down. So I think maybe putting the hub, is that the way we want it? Sure. And then the last thing, we want to recreate our equipment workshop. This is the end of the power, so why don't we put it off the end without the power? There we go. So then we have an equipment workshop. We have the hub up on top, a bunch of flashing quest symbols. And the next thing we have to do here, I'm going to need the 150 motors. So in an effort to get, I don't know whether we should do the, well, we'll have to do the steel because the motors need the pipes. And we'll have to do the wire because the motor needs the stators. So I'll probably do one of the other in between the episodes. Probably do the copper. No, you know what? I'll probably do the steel because I have copper down there and I don't really need the cables as a general statement. You know what? I did not count correctly. That's right. It looks wonderful. Or at least looks good enough. So I think I'm going to get working on the steel. The biggest problem I have is hopefully there's some more. Yeah, look, there's some iron not too far, 243, which, given the distances I'm dealing with just my platform, means that there's some iron. Just right there. Oh, that's great. Okay, now let's see coal. All right, that's my power plant coal. 700 this way, which isn't really too bad considering that one must be 1500 that way. Yeah, so 600 that way is probably just, right over there. Good. So we have iron right close. And that iron might be the last iron that I need for over there. Let's take a real quick look. How good is it? And I don't have any stuff on me. Never mind. I don't want to die jumping down there. But I'll get this iron up here. Oh, that's not iron. That's limestone there, which is good. But we have enough cement, as far as I know. I don't think we need much more. But if that's a pure one and the other ones aren't, maybe I'll use that one. Because I know the other ones aren't. Alright. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I will fill out the rest of the tour. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, you know, suggestions. I'm not saying this is perfect. That's why I'm calling it Satisfactory Factory. But I also think it's the kind of thing most people could do. I saw one guy did 5 of these heavy industrial beams, and so I tell you what, it's a lot of work. This is like I said, probably in the ballpark of 12 hours of pretty steady working, and I'm not, you know, this is just really to try to get 1 or 2. I mean, I'll probably end up being able to get 2 at times, as long as everything else is kind of stocked up. I'm sure I'll have a weak spot somewhere that slows it down, but, you know, I haven't gotten the copper done. I haven't gotten the steel done. But hey, things are running. This is actually all just an upgrade. When you think about it, I'm not producing anything at this point. I'm producing more of it, but I'm not producing anything that this guy over here. Oops, we're gonna get into the danger zone, the stinky zone. Look, I'm not producing any more than this did. I mean, I'm producing more. I'm just not producing anything different than that little setup did. So if you're a really patient person, you could build that. If you're interested in building a whole factory, you can build this. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'll go through each building and try to get it to its, you know, pretty top efficiency, probably after I do the steel, because that way I can get those encased beams and just even regular beams, and then that way we can go to Mark III. We get the Mark III upgrade. Even if I have to do the motors by hand, they'll be a lot easier to do if I've already got the parts in steel. So, okay, well, have a good day. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any comments. Take care. Bye-bye.